It was a normal Saturday afternoon at the mall. Families were shopping, kids were laughing, and the air buzzed with weekend energy. But for Daniel, a wealthy businessman used to private jets and luxury meetings, everything suddenly stopped. He was walking past a small cafe when he saw Emily, his ex-wife, the woman he had walked away from 15 years ago without a second thought. She looked older, yes, but graceful. Time hadn't taken her warmth, and that smile, it stirred something deep in him. But what truly made his heart skip wasn't just seeing her. It was the two children standing beside her. A boy and a girl, maybe 8, maybe 9, and they looked just like him. Daniel froze. Memories he had buried deep started rushing back. The arguments, the silence, the final goodbye. He had left her when his career started to take off, believing love was a distraction. She never reached out again, and he never looked back until now. As he watched from a distance, questions swirled in his mind. Could they be his kids? Why didn't she tell him? Should he go up to her? A part of him wanted to run, but another part needed answers. Emily hadn't noticed him yet. She was busy helping the twins with their ice cream. Daniel took a step forward, but his heart pounded. What if the truth was something he wasn't ready for? And then one of the twins turned around and looked straight at him. The boy's eyes locked with Daniel's, wide, curious, and oddly familiar. Daniel quickly turned away, pretending to look at a storefront, but it was too late. That glance had shaken him. His mind raced. He hadn't seen Emily since the divorce. Back then, they were just starting out, young, broke, and in love. But when his startup took off and the money started pouring in, everything changed. Daniel wanted more success, more freedom, more control. Emily, quiet and grounded, didn't fit the image he thought he needed. So one day he left. No explanation, no goodbye, just a signed set of divorce papers and silence. Now here she was, and those twins, they had his eyes. The same sharp nose, the same way the boy held his hands behind his back, just like Daniel used to as a kid. He couldn't ignore it. But why hadn't she ever told him? Why had she stayed hidden all these years? Daniel watched as Emily handed the kids napkins and laughed at something the little girls said. It was the kind of laughter that once filled their small apartment before everything fell apart. He felt a pang of guilt. Was she struggling all this time while he lived in luxury? Did she keep the children from him on purpose, or did she think he wouldn't care? He needed answers. But as he stepped closer, he saw a man walk up behind Emily, placing a hand gently on her back. Daniel's breath caught. Who was he? Daniel stepped back, his heart thudding in his chest. The man looked comfortable, familiar with Emily, too familiar. He leaned in close, whispered something in her ear, and she smiled. That smile, it wasn't forced or polite. It was the kind of smile Daniel hadn't seen in years. The kind she used to give him when everything felt safe. Now, it belonged to someone else. Jealousy burned through him, but it was tangled with guilt and confusion. Was this man the kid's father? Had she moved on and built a new life without him? The thought felt like a punch to the gut. He had all the money in the world, but suddenly none of it mattered. Not if he had missed out on being a father, not if someone else had taken his place. He watched the man kneel down to tie the little girl's shoe, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. They looked like a family, a real one, a happy one. Daniel's chest tightened. He had built empires, sat at the top of boardrooms, but this small moment of love and closeness was something he'd never had. Not since Emily. From across the food court, he felt like an outsider looking into a life that might have been his. Questions haunted him. Did Emily ever tell the twins about him? Did they even know he existed, or had she buried his memory along with their past? Daniel knew he had to speak to her, but what if it was already too late? Daniel's hands were clammy, his breath shallow as he stood frozen behind a nearby column. His mind was spinning with questions, but one thought overpowered everything else. Asterisk, what if he had a family and never knew it? Asterisk, he watched as Emily and the man, tall, calm, well-dressed, gathered the kids and headed toward the parking lot. Panic gripped him. If he didn't act now, he might lose his only chance to find the truth. He followed at a distance, careful not to be seen. Each step felt heavier. What would he even say to her? Asterisk key. I know I disappeared for 15 years, but are those my kids? Asterisk, it sounded insane, even in his head. But the resemblance was too strong. He couldn't ignore it anymore. The mall doors slid open, and a cool breeze hit his face. He watched as Emily opened the car door, helping the twins into the back seat. The man opened the driver's side and placed a shopping bag inside. They were about to leave. Daniel's heart raced. He stepped forward, but his legs hesitated. Memories hit him like waves. Emily crying on their old couch, the way she'd begged him not to go, the door closing behind him for the last time. He thought he had moved on, built a better life. But now all of that felt hollow. Just as Emily turned to get into the car, she paused. Her eyes swept across the parking lot and stopped. For a moment, their eyes met. Recognition flickered across her face. Emily's eyes locked with Daniel's, and for a moment, the world stood still. She didn't look angry. She didn't look shocked. What she showed was something he hadn't expected: fear. She quickly looked away, whispered something to the man beside her, and ushered the kids into the car faster than before. The man turned to look at Daniel, his jaw tightening as if he instantly knew who Daniel was. Daniel took a few steps forward, raising a hand slightly, as if to signal he just wanted to talk. But the man stepped between them, his body language protective, almost territorial. Emily didn't say a word. She got in the car and slammed the door shut. Daniel opened his mouth, tried to call her name, but no sound came out. The car pulled away, tires squealing slightly as it turned out of the parking lot. Daniel stood there, stunned. He hadn't imagined it. She recognized him. But why had she looked so scared? Then something else hit him. If those were truly his children, why hadn't she ever reached out? What was she hiding? And who was that man? Daniel pulled out his phone, his fingers trembling. He opened the browser and typed her name. What came up made his blood run cold. An old article, buried in local news from almost a decade ago. Young mother found in shelter after disappearing during divorce. Words like *abuse* and *custody battle* jumped off the page. What had he missed all those years ago? Daniel stood frozen, staring at the article, heart pounding. The words on the screen blurred as a wave of guilt crashed over him. He had been too focused on success to see what his absence had caused. She hadn't just moved on, she had survived. He rushed to his car, mind spinning, unsure what he would even say if he saw her again. He didn't have a plan. He just knew he couldn't let it end like this. Later that evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Daniel found himself parked outside a quiet suburban home. He didn't know how he got the address, just that an old mutual friend had slipped it to him after a desperate call. The house was small but warm, lights glowing through the curtains. He stepped out of his car, walked up the drive, and knocked. The door opened. Emily stood there, eyes wide, arms folded tightly. She didn't invite him in. "I don't want trouble," she said, voice low but steady. "I'm not here to fight," Daniel replied, voice cracking. "I just want the truth." There was a long pause before she sighed. "They're not yours." Daniel blinked, stunned. "What?" "They're not your children. I found out I was pregnant a year after the divorce with someone else. He left too." Before he could respond, the twins appeared behind her. And then the twist. One of them stepped forward and said, "But Mom told us you were our real dad. We were waiting for you." Daniel stood there, stunned, as the little boy looked up at him with hopeful eyes. Emily's expression softened just slightly, her guard lowering. She stepped aside enough for Daniel to see them both clearly. I told them about you, she said quietly. Not because you were perfect, but because they deserved to believe someone would show up for them. His throat tightened. He didn't know what to say. All those years chasing wealth, power, recognition, none of it had prepared him for this moment. He crouched down to meet the twins at eye level, searching their faces. They weren't his by blood, but in their eyes was something else. Trust. A belief in the man they had imagined all these years. I'm sorry I wasn't there, Daniel said gently. But I'd like to be now, if you'll let me. Emily didn't answer right away. She glanced at the man who had stood with her earlier. That's their uncle. He helped when no one else would. Her voice was calm. But maybe it's not too late for you to help too. The tension that had built over so many years didn't disappear in an instant, but something shifted. The door didn't close. And as the twins smiled and stepped forward, Daniel realized he didn't need to rewrite the past. He just had to show up for the present. As the porch light flickered on and laughter echoed from inside, Daniel took his first real step towards something money could never buy, a second chance.